Can I welcome everybody? Hopefully you've all got the right meeting. It is the ATCM Scotland meeting. And it is a lovely title, Saving Christmas. Who needs Santa when you've got some of the finest placemakers in the UK at this meeting? But it's about the challenge around about Christmas, and perhaps we could discuss some good practice that's going on out there, and just to get an idea of what's happening across the country would be really helpful, certainly from our perspective. And OJ thought it was timely, obviously, that we do discuss Christmas. It's such a big part of the year still, despite all the challenges at both a local and macro level. So welcome to all.
Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you. Joe woke up this morning feeling like I was full of cold. I didn't go to bed full of cold, but I woke up feeling full of cold, which is quite bizarre. OJ, that's a precursor. I'll have to go sick. You've just heard me sneeze.
There's nothing like a last-minute slide, is there?
That's how up to date the ATCM are. That is how up to date. It's still hot, the information.
It actually is. It actually is. Adrian, I am ready when you are.
Right. Do we need to go around the houses, so to speak, OJ, or will we just crack on?
I think maybe a quick intro from everyone, just because I know we've got a couple of people joining us from outside of Scotland.
Right. Yeah, and they are very welcome and delighted to see them here. I'll go by my screen if I'm allowed to be slightly selfish, folks. It makes it easier, and I will start, obviously. My name's Adrian Watson. I'm the Chief Executive for Aberdeen Inspired, which is one of the business improvement districts, and we sit in the heart of the city of Aberdeen. The clue is in the title. OJ?
OJ MacDonald, CEO of ATCM.
Gary has momentarily popped out, I see in that screen. Chloe, my friend, Ipswich fan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Chloe Keith. I'm Managing Director of Toolbox Marketing. We are based down in sunny Suffolk. However, we are responsible for getting people to places up and down the UK and Europe. Historically in Scotland, I've worked in Aberdeen. I've also worked in Cumbernauld, just outside Glasgow, and also, oh my gosh, the name escapes me now, East Coast, Glenrothes?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. There we go. So yes, some experience of the Scottish placemaking market historically.
Fantastic. Look forward to hearing from you, Chloe, and you're very welcome. Touching on Glasgow, I see Deborah's here. Deborah?
Morning, everybody. I'm Deborah Murray from Byres Road and Lanes, bid in the West End of Glasgow. And I'm a recovering Manchester United fan.
Don't encourage OG, Deborah.
Solidarity.
Karen?
Hello, I'm Karen Shields. I'm the Membership Manager for the ATCM, and I'm based in the true northeast of England.
Indeed. Welcome, Karen. Danielle?
Good morning, everyone. Danielle, I run Stirling's Business Improvement District, Goforth. And anyone that doesn't know, we're right in the middle of Edinburgh and Glasgow, so true central Scotland.
Indeed. Thank you, Danielle. Audrey? I think you're on mute, Audrey.
Oh no, we can't hear you, Audrey.
Shall I say it? Hello, it's Audrey Brown. She's from Warwickshire County Council, assuming it is that Audrey. She's from the People, Places and Projects team, and she's been involved in public art projects and business support projects across Warwickshire.
Brilliant. Thanks. Julia?
Hello, I'm Julia Aratoon. I work with Audrey Brown at Warwickshire County Council, involved in very similar projects.
Fantastic. Thanks, Julia. Rule?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rule Wood, Business Engagement Manager for Aberdeen Inspired, and I have the privilege and the joy of working with Adrian Watson.
What are you laughing at?
Leave a laugh.
How dare you? Awful. Thank you, Rule. Pete?
Hi, everyone. Pete Mudge. I work in Leeds, helping all the shopping areas. There's 65 of them. So hopefully we'll pick up some good advice from this one, which I can share with them.
Wonderful. Welcome, Pete. Sunil?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sunil. I'm the economic advisor with a focus on Scotland's newest city, Dunfermline. And Chloe, I'm glad to hear you've learnt experiences from the three dodgiest places in Scotland: Aberdeen, Cannon Road. Nice to see you, Rule.
Great. Thanks, Sunil. Laura?
Morning, everyone. I'm Laura Blake. I'm the Advocacy and Accreditation Assistant with the ATCM.
Great to see you too, Laura. Jennifer? Jennifer gone? Still
Yeah,
there,
no,
Jennifer?
hi. Yeah, I was just trying to find the unmute button.
Sorry,
I'm Jennifer Caswell, and I work at Dundee City Council, City Promotion, and we've got City Centre Management within our team.
Nice to hear from you, Jennifer. Have we covered that? Laura, we've got Abigail.
Morning, I'm Abigail. I'm the Operations Assistant at ATCM.
Welcome, Abigail. John?
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Foster. I'm a project officer with Glasgow City Council. I've got a pretty wide and diverse range of project portfolios, and I work within the City Centre Regeneration team.
Welcome, John. And finally, last but not least, Lizzie.
Good morning, I'm Lizzie Smith. I work in the Town Centre Development Unit at Fife Council with Sunil.
Fantastic. Welcome, Lizzie. I think I've covered all the bases, OJ, but I apologise profusely if I've missed anyone out.
Gary.
I think Audrey's got problems with our screen, but sorry, with our mute button, but I'm sure we'll work through this. Over to you, Audrey. The floor's yours.
Is that working now?
We can hear you now.
Fantastic, Audrey.
Excellent. That's much better. Hi,
wonderful.
Right, morning, everyone. So we are going to be talking about saving Christmas. So give me 2 seconds to get my slides up. Right, hopefully you can all see that okay. So yeah, as it's been said, this is quite a timely conversation given the time of year. There's been news this morning out about the challenges we have when it comes to Christmas. So we have entered what's called the golden quarter. And this is meant to be the most profitable time for our town centre businesses. Consumer-facing businesses, October to December is their crunch time. This is where a lot of their business gets done, and they are able to hopefully turn over a profit by the end of the year based on a lot of the trade they do in this final quarter of the year. However, the golden quarter for 2022 is off to a really bad start. And that's been emphasized by news which has dropped this morning. And it's an article in The Guardian which says retailers in the UK are braced for a tough Christmas, with various bits of information in this article, including Barclaycard, who say, based on their information, they're looking at around 50% of consumers cutting back their spending this Christmas. So it is going to be difficult. So we ask, firstly, why are we seeing these challenges? Well, firstly, we have inflation across the board, and it's inflation caused by a number of issues, whether it's a Russian invasion of Ukraine, whether it's energy, whether it's a weak pound. Inflation in the year up to September had surged by 10.1%, according to the Office for National Statistics. Dig a little deeper into what's causing the inflation. And certainly people at the lower end of the income scale seem to be those getting hit hardest. Take, for example, budget food. Food costs overall have jumped by 14.6% over the last year. But you look at budget food, the cheapest food, the staple things, pasta, tea, chips, cooking oil, inflation there is 17%. We know there's now challenges with housing costs as well, so real fears over mortgages, and also that knock-on impact on those who are renting as well, with an increase in interest rates from 2.25% to 3%, the biggest jump since 1989, and no guarantee necessarily stops there. So that interest rate increase was something decided by the Bank of England. The Bank of England have warned that the UK economy is facing a 2-year contraction. This would be the longest recession since records began. Unemployment is expected to nearly double by 2025. So the reason why the Bank of England have increased interest rates is they have pretty much just one job, and that's to dampen inflation. And they only have one tool in which to do that one job, and that is the use of interest rates. And basically the way the Bank of England see it is there is a misalignment between demand and supply. There is simply not enough stuff to cover demand, which is why we are seeing inflation. And so what the Bank of England tries to do is to address that by making the costs of borrowing much higher to take money, to take demand out of the system. So partly the recession will be a direct result of the Bank of England just trying to dampen down consumer spending. And it is working. Consumer confidence, when you take everything into account, whether it's interest rates, whether it's inflation, whether it's energy, housing costs, concerns over employment, consumer confidence soared to a massive minus 47 points for, I think actually that's for October, up 2 points from September. September's was minus 49 points. And just to give you an idea of just how low that is, that was the lowest level of consumer confidence ever recorded since records began. And I think those records began in around the mid 70s. So that tells you just how bad consumer confidence is at the moment. And that's all impacting on what we're seeing for the high street and what we expect people to be spending or not spending this year. Deloitte says 6 in 10 Britons will spend less at Christmas. So that's around 59% of consumers intending to spend less. When you dig into their research, they say 38% of respondents would switch to cheaper brands or switch to cheaper stores in order to seek out gifts. 11% would look to buy secondhand gifts, and 8% are planning to skip Christmas altogether. Tesco is seeing the impact. They've put out a warning fairly early saying they don't expect consumer spending to be where it normally is. And even though consumers were already spending less following the pandemic, they are seeing that spending cut back even more now due to inflation. And it means people are still shopping in Tesco, but there's a lot of switching happening between brands to make sure people get the very best deal. John Lewis has launched its Black Friday sale earlier than previous years. And that is because they recognize that what customers are doing is they are spreading their Christmas shopping across a much longer period rather than concentrating it in a few short days because they need to manage their cash flow. This is backed up by Sainsbury's, who have said, this is Simon Roberts, the CEO, who says one of the key things that we're clearly seeing is customers wanting to spread out the cost of Christmas, shopping earlier where they can, buying little and often as they plan for Christmas. And for those that aren't grocers, for those whose business model isn't based on food, but is based on more discretionary items, the news isn't good because ultimately it's not just the case of customers switching between brands or buying at a different time. It might be a case of customers not shopping at all. Next is one of them that reports seeing a fall in stock market value as a result of the cost of living crisis. So for discretionary businesses out there on the high street, these are going to be difficult times, and no doubt that includes the hospitality sector as well. And the unfortunate thing is, I talk about how important the golden quarter is to businesses, unfortunately, the disruption to Christmas trade is no longer an exception. What we're seeing this year is unfortunately not something which we see as unusual. Last year, it was the unfortunate timing of Omicron, which really took the wind out the sails of the high street just when we thought we might have our a normal Christmas. The year before that, it was the Alpha variant, which emerged in Kent and spread across the UK like wildfire, which meant there were real challenges and uncertainty around Christmas shopping. And I picked up this. I was going to put this in the presentation. I mean, I've done it anyway, but I thought this was I literally thought this was a headline for this year. But such is the problems we've had. When I looked at more details at this particular article, it turned out it was 2020. And literally this headline could have worked for 2020, 2021, or even this year. That's the challenge we've got with the golden quarter. So it's a real problem for high street businesses, as this is their most profitable time. Guys, we need heroes to save our Christmas. So who's that going to be? We really need to step up to support businesses through a difficult period. So for today's ATCM Scotland, we're going to ask is, how is your town centre performing so far this Christmas? And what are you doing to help boost footfall and spend in challenging conditions that others can learn from? Adrian, that's it from me. Oh, you're on mute, Adrian.
Sorry, folks. Any questions of OJ? I'm sure you'll all agree it's rather sobering, and you'll know some of these highlights. You'll be living and breathing it from your respective principalities across the UK. Anything in the here and now before I move on? We can always come back to the wider discussion. Sunil, was that you?
Yeah, just a quick one, please, Adrian. OJ, the 49 points and 47 points, is that 49%, or what does that actually convey? 49 out of what, 100, or? You're on mute.
Sorry, just after Adrian's done it as well. So it's confidence score. So if people are confident, I don't know if it scores from 100 to minus 100. I'm not quite sure how it works in that respect. But if people are completely neutral, the score will be 0. If people are confident, then the score will be in the positives. And obviously, the higher the level of confidence, the higher the score will be. If people aren't confident about life, then that's when you go into the negatives. But I'm not sure exactly what the scale is. But what I do know is minus 49, which was the score for September, was the lowest ever since the record began, which I think was 1974. So I can probably dig out the report for you and share the link on here if you want to find out.
No, I mean it's obviously dire, and that's kind of the main thing. I was kind of trying to get my head around it. Okay, sorry.
Fair question.
Any other questions at all at this stage? As I say, we can probably get into a bit more detail on the round table when we start to discuss Christmas activity, etc. No? Okay. Chloe, can I pass on to your good self?
You may indeed. My presentation is also littered with some horrific facts like AJ has just shared. I'm going to share my screen and get started if that's okay with everybody. Is that working? Excellent. Okay. So first of all, thank you, OJ and the ATCM team for inviting me today to talk about how marketing and events can contribute to help saving Christmas. And I've used the word contribute there because it's not just something that marketing or events can address. Obviously, there's a much bigger picture where everything needs to work together to help save Christmas. As I've mentioned, I'm Chloe Keith. I'm Managing Director of Toolbox Marketing. The business has been running for the last 22 years. And for the last 11 years, I've been responsible for getting people to places across the UK and Europe. And that's through strategic thinking and creative delivery. So coming up for my 11th Christmas and probably the most challenging to date so far. So Christmas did used to be merry and bright for our places, but unfortunately, after a run of Christmas challenges, some of which OJ touched upon, it looks like Christmas 2022 is going to be unhappy and dull due to the cost of living crisis. I know AJ mentioned going back to 2020 and 2021. I actually think the problems on our high streets for Christmas kind of go back to 2019, where we were seeing that rise in online shopping, and probably even earlier to 2019. So if you factor in online shopping, if you factor in COVID, consumer confidence, all of that, and the cost of living crisis, that creates us a new challenge for 2022. Now, just to set the scene, in addition to some of the facts and figures that OJ presented, I'm sure you're aware of some of these, but some of the cost of living crisis in numbers impacting on our places. So only 26% of people are confident in spending. A rather large number at 41% expect to spend less on eating out. So I think we're not just talking about retail here, we're also talking about food and beverage, we're also talking about experiences in our places. And 68% of people plan on spending less this Christmas. Add all of that together with the other facts that we've been discussing this morning, it's no doubt going to have a hugely negative impact on our places. However, I think we need to just think about it, that it's not all doom and gloom. People might be spending less, but they're still going to be spending. I think that's something that we need to take away from this session today. A third of UK consumers are actually looking for a memorable experience when shopping. So that's something we can give them this Christmas. And 58% say that COVID has made them realise how much they missed on the experience of being out. So I think that's another thing that we can tackle this Christmas. So why not harness the power of these facts and turn it into something positive for our places? So today, I'm just going to be talking about kind of 3 areas where I think we can help save the high street this Christmas. So over the next 10 minutes, I'll try and keep it to that. I'm going to be discussing how we can spread Christmas cheer, how we can have a caring Christmas, and how we also tackle kind of dreaming of a green Christmas rather than a white one this year as well. So just starting with Christmas cheer. So in Elf the movie, which is now featuring in the Asda Christmas advert, if you've not seen it yet, probably a contender for one of the best Christmas ads this year so far. They talk about how, they learn about how the best way is to spread festive cheer. So in the next few slides, I've got some examples of Christmas activities to spread Christmas cheer. But it's important to point out at this stage that you need to use all of your marketing channels that are available to you, online and offline, to spread the Christmas cheer, loud and clear for all to hear. Otherwise, no one will know about it. So very important to make sure that your communications channels are tied up to spread the Christmas cheer. So what can spreading the Christmas cheer include? Hopefully not COVID. So we're talking here about free entertainment. We're talking about no or low cost experiences for families, for friends, for colleagues, for example. We're also talking about handing out gifts. So obviously people are buying gifts for each other, but what can you gift to your shoppers for the festive period? And also it's all about making people smile. You know, these headlines in the news are going to be having a negative impact on people's well-being, mental health, how they're feeling. It's already a dark time of the year with the clocks changing a couple of weekends ago. So let's aim to make people smile here as well. So looking at these ideas in a little bit more detail, I've kind of categorized it into 4 areas. First one being working with your community. Now, some of the examples on the screen at the moment are very self-explanatory, but just to explain a little bit more about how a Christmas trail could help your place. So this could be as simple as hiding either posters or toys in shop or cafe windows for families to find as a trail. The benefits of this are that it moves people around your town or your city. It helps increase dwell time, and it also highlights what your businesses have to offer. You know, the Christmas window displays are often the most fantastic of the year. So this in itself, you know, is a movable kind of art display that we can make the most of. Rewarding people for completing this trail could be something as simple as a sweet treat, or it could be, for example, an entry into a competition. And that could be to win a hamper of gifts from all of the businesses that have taken part. So it's very simple, but very effective. We've run this in multiple locations at multiple times of the year. So it's not just for Christmas. It also works for Easter. It works for summer holidays. It works for Halloween, for example. But just a really simple and effective way of moving people around your town or city. Moving on to column 2, thinking about how you can run events with partners. Now, we've had a few last minute requests from our clients asking to book Santa for this year. Santa's fully booked. But I think this is where you can put a spin on it. It's easier to find people that can dress up as elves, even Mrs. Christmas, for example. So just kind of putting a spin on it if you are planning things last minute. So, you know, it's a given. Walkabout entertainment and face painting are always footfall drivers. But how about kind of taking it to the next level with a photo competition or handing out treats, or even thinking about adding an educational element? If you're booking characters such as elves, why not kind of host an elf school just to increase the level of experience or dwell time? Or if you've already booked Santa, think about how you could offer bookable experiences like story time with Santa or breakfast with Santa to support your tenants. So it's not just all about grottos here, for example. Moving on to column 3, and thinking outside of the box is very much all about taking those experiences to the next level. We know that customers want those experiences probably more than they actually want things at the moment. I think that's been a trend that we've been seeing prior to COVID, is that people want experiences with friends or family rather than actual physical gifts. So they're wanting those experiences, and they're wanting and demanding more as well. So taking these experiences to the next level helps divert people away from online shopping. It also diverts them away from your competition. So how can your town or city stand out? For example, you can't take part in Dasher's Disco or ride a Christmas train virtually. It's all about making those experiences physical, so you're attracting them to your place to take part in it rather than it being an online experience. And last but not least, in column 4, is thinking about the digital engagements and interactions. So this can actually help contribute to footfall. Slightly harder to prove with statistics and return on investment, but on average, a person sees something 7 times before they act. So making sure that you've got regular and relevant digital competitions or communications or content on your social media channels, they're all vital to backing up your physical offer during this festive period. So that's kind of wrapping up kind of area number 1. And I'm only just scratching the surface here. I could probably talk to you all day about all of these ideas and brainstorm with you, but I've got a limited period. So I'm going to move, actually, before I move on, a few kind of examples on the screen. These are events or campaigns that we have delivered. This was Christmas 2021. This year we've got trains booked, we've got post offices booked. We are actually hosting a Dasher's Disco with Dasher on the decks. We're also holding the Xmas Factor, which is in one of our locations. They've got a very musical population of customers, so we want to bring them all together and host an Xmas Factor event. We're hosting breakfast with Santa, we're hosting story time, elf schools, all of the kind of traditional, but taking it to the next level. On the screen at the moment, we've got the Santa train. This was around an indoor shopping centre, but they also work in outdoor places as well. Postbox, so granting children's wishes, unfortunately no Ferraris or ponies, but making sure we can buy gifts from our places on the high street as rewards to the winning letter to Santa. This chap, Santa, was built out of Lego bricks last year, and we had a Lego trail around one of our indoor shopping centres. And it had such a hugely positive impact on footfall as people walked around, looked at all of the installations made out of Lego, and we ran a competition to guess how many bricks each character was made out of. So something as simple as that can actually really engage and interact with your customers. Christmas isn't just all about Santa, elves and reindeer. There's some big movie releases that come up. So we had actually Spider-Man visiting one of our places last year, a guaranteed kind of crowd pleaser. Wishing trees, gift trees, making sure you're making the most of your light installations that you may have in your towns or cities. This one here, the Pink Castle, quite a unique project. We worked with a local theatre who were locked down during Christmas 2020. They continued to build their set, but they actually displayed it in one of our places. And that was our Christmas feature and installation during Christmas 2022. So that was down in Colchester. And collecting donations. So just a few examples of Christmas activities. And then some not Christmas activities, but you could make them Christmas. So top left is all about the trail. So handing out this trail sheet, you know, meet and greet kind of characters, stilt walkers, for example, roller skaters, all attract crowds and create those photo opportunities. Something that we're seeing as a bit of a trend across towns and cities and open air shopping centres is not forgetting people's four-legged friends. So if you can come Christmas shopping with your four-legged friend, that's a USP. People love them at the moment. They want to go shopping with them as well. And also thinking about promoting gifts for four-legged friends as well. Storytelling, book characters, reading, educational elements always work well. Face painting, colouring, for example. You may see kind of T-Rex in the corner here. Dinosaurs have drawn massive crowds since, you know, 2018, I think, when they probably became most popular in our places. I think you can stick a Christmas hat on T-Rex, and I think people will think, yay, this is brilliant. So using kind of the power of popular kind of attractions like dinosaurs can still work at Christmas time as well. Next up, spin the wheel. So we've been doing these kind of trick or treat, win, no win, donate or keep the prize. Something as simple as a spin the wheel could work really well to engage and reward your customers. And handing out items. So here we were handing out branded packets of seeds, so customers could grow with us. So again, that's something that's green and sustainable that you could gift your customers during the festive period as well. So moving on to section 2, and let's be like Kevin from Home Alone 2, which in my opinion is the better of the Home Alones, Home Alone 2. And here we want to show that we care by sharing and supporting shoppers this festive season. So those of you that don't know the movie, he obviously, he gets the turtle doves from Duncan's toy chest, and at the end of the movie, he hands it out to I call her the pigeon lady. So let's think about how we can kind of harness our inner Kevin for Christmas this year. So if your place is demonstrating that it cares about its shoppers and its community, and that it's supporting local this Christmas, shoppers might be more inclined to choose your place over your competition, keeping the footfall where it matters most. So a caring Christmas can help contribute to footfall by helping those in need, by collecting donations, by raising awareness, and also positioning, oh, we've got a bit of an echo there we go, and also positioning your place at the heart of the community. So delving a little bit deeper here, you can work with your community to address issues impacting your community, making it relevant and closer to home. For example, if you don't have a homelessness issue, it's probably not going to be relevant to your town or city. So really think about issues that are impacting your places and how you can address them. So campaigns such as food banks and wishing trees mean that shoppers have to physically visit your place to donate or participate. It's not going to drive hundreds and hundreds of people, but it is going to attract people to your physical space. Initiatives such as keeping your place warm means that you can collect coat, hat or scarf donations over the festive period and then distribute them in, one of the coldest months of the year in January. And, kind of simple campaigns like a free cup of tea, come and have a cup of tea and a chat this Christmas, could really help get people out of their house and also tackle loneliness as well. So just a few kind of different issues there in your places that you could kind of help address through your Christmas initiatives and activity. Over on the right-hand side, I think we really need to also think about the shopper experience and kind of going that extra mile and how you could make people visit your place rather than clicking online or going elsewhere. So can you promote late night shopping and position it as people avoiding the rush? So they're not shopping on Saturdays or Sundays, traditionally the busiest shopping days. Can you offer free parking or promote that you've already got free parking to save shoppers money that they will then likely spend with your businesses? Or could you assist with people carrying bags, parking assistance? Parking for Christmas is more often than not a nightmare. Will it put people off and will it divert people to online shopping? So parking assistance. Or for people with disabilities, thinking about hosting quiet hours for shopping in your places. So all of those things really help improve Christmas shopping experiences in your physical spaces and show that you care as well. Moving on to number 3, kind of final area to kind of think about is for years, Bing has been singing about a white Christmas, but a green Christmas is now higher up on our shoppers' agendas. We carried out a survey earlier this year and 58% of people responded saying that they do try and be a bit greener at Christmas time. So without greenwashing, you can help promote to your customers how to be a little bit greener this Christmas. So whilst being green isn't necessarily going to drive masses of footfall to your place, it is going to drive certain shoppers to your businesses to buy greener Christmas gifts and decorations, if that is promoted by content or gift guides, for example. Free workshops to make your own decorations, whether it's decorating a wooden tree decoration or whether it's kind of bringing in materials from home that you've recycled and showing how you can turn them into Christmas decorations, could drive footfall to your place and may also create a unique point of difference as well. And make sure if you are handing out freebies or gifts, for example, that they are as good for the planet as possible. So just kind of thinking about reusable shopping bags or wooden tree decorations, basically items that aren't just a throwaway gimmick. So really thinking about kind of doing your bit for the planet with these gifts that you're handing out. And just one thing to add in here, from experience so far and the lovely keyboard warriors that we deal with on a daily basis, please make sure that you are ready to answer questions about how much it costs to turn on your Christmas lights or how they are powered. Just be prepared. We're getting a lot of questions now. Our customers are seeing, Christmas lights being installed. The majority of our Christmas light switch-ons kick off from Wednesday next week, and we're getting asked these questions online. So please be prepared to answer those kind of questions from your customers. Just wrapping up here. So in turn, your festive feel-good factors should really aim to increase dwell time and raise awareness of your place, of your businesses, of local charities, all the good that you're doing. And in turn, this is going to help generate loyalty and position your place as the heart of the community. So this isn't just for Christmas here. This is, you know, we're talking about for life, I think, you know, the kind of Dogs Trust famous campaign. I think whatever you can do during this festive period to give back and support your community is going to put you in a really good position to kind of see you through into 2023. Before I hand back to either OJ or Adrian, I just wanted to highlight how important it is to consider what happens after all the Christmas fun. So when the Christmas lights are turned off, what happens? The January blues, they're going to kick in. As families kind of disperse after Christmas gatherings, loneliness could potentially creep in. And also, there's a really long wait until January payday as well. So I think you really need to be thinking and planning for January now. And just a few ideas for some January joy that could also help drive footfall to your place. Throughout the Christmas period, could you hand out physical printed vouchers for discounts that are redeemable in January in your place? Is it, you know, do this, get this free? Is it a discount? Is it, you know, simply come along on this day for a free cup of coffee on us? But thinking about those kind of offers and discounts that will bring people back to your place in January. Could you run something quirky and fun like an unwanted gift shop? You know, we always get those naff presents from aunties, for example, or you get the same pair of socks from your family. Can you run an unwanted gift shop in an empty unit where shoppers can donate their unwanted gifts so you can collect them all and then open it up as, you know, come and treat yourself and take something to make you smile in January? Thinking about Christmas trees and being green, could you run a Christmas tree cycling campaign where your place is a local collection point for Christmas trees that need recycling? And go full circle here. Could those Christmas trees be turned into wood chip that can be used in local gardens or animal shelters, for example? And not forgetting competitions to keep up the engagements on your digital channels and to spread some joy. It will also help you highlight what your businesses have to offer in the bluest month of the year. So just to conclude, Christmas 2022 will be the year where traditional or unique Christmas experiences delivering that festive feeling will be key to unlocking physical visits to either shopping centres, high streets and town centres. The focus should very much be on spreading Christmas cheer and showing that you care to support your customers and support your businesses during a challenging Christmas period like no other. And don't forget that the power of digital should be harnessed to drive the physical and create those magic and memorable moments that you cannot get online. The end. I will pass back. Hopefully there's some inspiration amongst all of that will help you all out.
Well, Chloe, I for one took a great deal of inspiration from that. That was a fantastic presentation.
Excellent.
Covered so many of the bases and so many important aspects, even that keyboard warrior, not to down the mood at all. But, you know, that was in the back of my mind about the lights, for instance. And I'm sure most people across the UK that are on this call today and others who aren't will be thinking that very thing. But it was really helpful, Chloe, because there's lots of pragmatism amongst that wonderful marketing presentation that you've given us. Really impressed. I suppose, Chloe, I could have done with speaking with you maybe 2 or 3 months back.
Yeah, this is the problem.
Giving me so many ideas, but I suspect post this event we'll have a chat at some point.
Excellent. I'm happy to take any questions now or later, entirely up to whoever's on the screen.
Anybody got a question for Chloe? I saw plenty of nods of recognition as well. A really good presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I shall pop myself on mute and hand over to you.
Thanks, Chloe. OJ, do you want to come in? Sorry, apologies.
Yeah, no, just I thought that was excellent presentation. To be honest, Chloe, and it's partly my fault. We probably should have done this a month or 2 ago, but the issue is we got swamped with energy crisis, which has dominated the agenda since the summer, which is a shame. But that was excellent, and I think there's lots we're thinking about there's lots we will think about as a result. And I'll probably get you booked in now for something round about September next year for the theme of I'm dreaming of a green Christmas, because I think that's an interesting angle to take. So that was brilliant. The only problem with the presentation was, and this was a pretty big problem, is Home Alone 2 is not the superior movie.
Oh
and
dear.
I nearly ended the Zoom call on that comment, I have to say. I mean, that was controversial.
Oh no, I never win.
We could actually be saying this Die Hard a Christmas movie.
Well, let's not even go there. Let's not even go there.
Okay, no questions for Chloe at the moment. And that's great, OJ, to schedule Chloe back in next year as well. There's been so much happening, you know, and if I can open up into the next session, you know, the challenge is there. Chloe's articulated it very well, and we haven't escaped it. We're certainly not immune up here in Aberdeen. We're still coming through COVID and all the symptoms of that. You know, we haven't got people back into the office. Will they ever come back? Will they come back gradually, perhaps? But we understand behaviours have changed, and we need to react, if not be a bit more proactive around that. But we've lost our captive audience. We've got hospitality in Aberdeen just now. I had a meeting with some of them yesterday who are closing through the week, a fair bit through the day. The daytime economy is really stretched. So you can see Christmas is really important. As an organisation as well, we've been involved in an international comedy festival up here. We managed that. And like Edinburgh and other places, north and south of the border, we found it difficult to get the numbers we've had previously for the reasons that have been given by both OJ and Chloe. So the paid events are proving difficult. It was important we did them to restore some normality. There was a desire, and it wasn't all doom and gloom with the comedy. We got lots of people through the doors, and with that, the spin-offs that come with it. But it was more challenged than, shall we say, 2019, for instance. I suspect the context is much the same elsewhere, although there may be differences, and I would really hope that folk could bring that to the table. OJ asked me to speak about Christmas. We're no different from most of the others. We're doing Christmas this year, you'll be reassured, Chloe. In our own humble way in Aberdeen, we're entering back into a kind of tripartite arrangement with a local fairground provider called Cadona's, and they will bring the carnival atmosphere to one of our main streets. And I'm looking out the window to it. It's being built at the moment. One of our high streets in the city centre. But important to us as well, and it's based on that feedback online and from elsewhere, was not to just have it imposed on folk and give this sense that we were very much about the local as well. So we have a curated Christmas market again, which has proved really successful in the past 2 or 3 years, involving local businesses. We've got up to about 80 this year who will come in and out of this beautiful quadrangle in the Marshall building in the heart of our city, and they'll sell their wares and their crafts and all that goes with that. And we very much sell that authentic local bit, that it is businesses from the city of Aberdeen and the shires around. And that seems to go down really well in that sense. We're doing a Christmas light switch on, again, partnering with the council. And we're also doing, and really might want to touch on it, we're doing extra lighting, believe it or not. We're taking that risk. As Chloe said again, it's getting dark. It's particularly dark up here. This is a dark city for many hours a day over these winter months, and we feel it is still a good investment, respecting all the challenges. We've managed to get some funding from the private sector, as we normally try and do, and we're trying to work with the council and other partners as well to try and bring a bit more lighting animation to the city centre. So that's stuff we're involved in as well. We're doing, and I'm reassured, Chloe, some of the trails that you speak about to try and get people moving about, but make no mistake about it, we've never had it so hard up here. Yes, we are self-professed oil capital of Europe, but there is really a tale of two cities, and there's a real stretch here. And, you know, we have 2 of our major shopping centres that are up for sale. There's another one that's still a flagship, but it is, for all intents and purposes, almost an out-of-town retail experience down at what we call Union Square, and is well blessed by rail and road link. So often the people don't move from that shopping centre into the main city centre, and that's a real challenge for us. And again, a bit more context, our main thoroughfare is Union Street, and we're having an emergency summit tomorrow, organised by Aberdeen Inspired with a host of partners, including the Council, Scottish Government, others. There will be MPs, MSPs and others there around what next in the short to medium term. We have a master plan, but that's longer term. It's the here and now. So it's just to give you that context as well, looking at measures tactically that we can employ to try and support our city centre. And that's round about our vacancy rate, which we were very proud of previously. It was running about 7-8%. It's now just above the national average. So we need to do something with our vacants. And we've got Ian Nicholson from the Institute of Place Management. Some of you people will know him, south of the border. A well-learned chap who is up doing some work on the ground, but is also coming to our summit tomorrow. So we are trying, but that's all in that Christmas mix. In terms of post-Christmas, and it was really interesting what you were saying about the blues in January, Chloe, we do Restaurant Week. Now, it's a bit more business focused, again, as you'd expect from the bid, but it is a restaurant week that you'll see in other parts of the UK and Ireland and beyond, where we will offer preferential rates, fixed price menus to try and entice people in. And there's lots of wraparound marketing last week in January, traditionally, to try and get the footfall back in and then displace some of that into retail and other aspects of our hospitality. And that is, in a nutshell, what Aberdeen is doing. Won't be much different to others, but happily field some questions, or others might want to proffer what they're doing in the cities in terms of ideas, etc. Can I open it up? Stunned silence.
Well, Adrian, I'll just come in and quickly mention the 2 light installations that you referenced a minute ago. So as Adrian said, you know, it wasn't something that we didn't consider, the cost of lighting 2 additional light installations in the city centre. However, our hospitality business and our evening and nighttime economy, they are struggling and they need it. And, you know, they have not turned off their lights and gone home. They will be trading at full throttle and investing in their staff, in their stock. They've had 2 incredibly difficult and different festive seasons behind them. So the 2 locations that we've chosen, as Adrian mentioned, we're fortunate that we've had private sector funding to cover a large portion of the cost. And we're using existing fixtures and walls where we did our summer umbrella installation with the ADHD Foundation. So we've really looked closely at managing the cost of these installations and weighing up the benefits. And with it being so far north, it is a very dark city. And we have had a lot of feedback from businesses where we have had other installations that it does really make a difference to their footfall. It's welcoming, it creates a feeling of safety, open for business. So it's really just a ceiling of light, a light canopy on 2 streets where we have a lot of bars and restaurants, independent and national, that will benefit from having this beautiful light installation for the few winter months before they come down, and we'll use the same fixtures for a summer installation. So hopefully that will be beneficial to those businesses, but it does, you know, it just enhances the city centre experience, especially for pedestrians. And we've seen, particularly with our cross street lighting, the new lighting signs, the suspended signage, that they do draw interest from pedestrians to go and investigate the areas where these signs have gone up. So that's just a little bit of background into the 2 installations. They're not at a huge cost, and they are temporary.
Thank you, Ruli. That's really helpful. Pete, do you want to come in?
Yeah, something we've done for a few years is have January sales, and the idea is it's very simple. And the idea is just so businesses can clear their stock rooms of unwanted stuff, and also try and get footfall into the area. All we do is very mundane. We just give single sheets of A4 or A3 to businesses with a symbol on, and then they put it in their window when they have items on sale. And it may not be the whole shop has a big sale on. It may just be they have a lucky dip box or something. You know, people could grab a sweet or something from, just anything to try and attract. But they're saying they've got something to attract shoppers in. And then the idea is we then do marketing around the region to get people to come into that area during that month. and see what's on offer.
Really good, Pete. That's helpful. Can I just add on the back of what's been said by Ruli and Pete? Another aspect for Christmas, which shouldn't be ignored for us, particularly north of the border, I'm seeing the experiences starting to play through. Scottish Government, understanding were devolved in some respects, but they got COVID, they got a scalp of COVID money, like our friends south of the border. They decided to invest it through Scotland Loves Local campaign and kind of tried to push us in that direction, encourage us to spend on local placemaking. Glasgow City Council were first out the blocks, followed by ourselves in terms of spend on the gift card, which is the MyConnect scheme, which some of you will know. And it was mouth-watering amounts, you know, compared to what most schemes would expect to take in had it been privately run and not had that public sector injection. For instance, I think Glasgow's got £8 million or so that Ewan Eccleston and the great team down in Glasgow have managed to do to put out to the most disadvantaged in their communities. They'll get £100 or so of a gift card for Christmas. Timing is all, isn't it? We've managed to do it up here. In terms of size and scale, it's 1.9 million, which is not inconsiderable. That is going to be signed off by our wonderful Ruli Wood and Aberdeen City Council and MyConnects today. So that'll be another cash injection coming into the city. And of course, we'll play that through with marketing. And the hope is that it's locked in to the bricks and mortar of our city, as has been experienced in Glasgow, which has been really positive so far. And I noticed one of the Ayrshire councils has bought into it. I think there'll be a great deal of frustration with some other placemakers across the country that some of the councils haven't, and I do respect that. And it's something that Ruli will tell you we've put in many a long hour to try and secure. But when you think that that's 1.9 million coming into your gift card, and our one was reasonably successful before, you know, we were on 500,000 after just shy of 2 years, but it's been a real boost in so many different respects. So, you know, it was just to bring that into the conversation as well. Any thoughts? Jennifer?
Sorry, I can't find on this particular screen where the hand is, so I'm just using my real hand. Apologies for that.
It worked for me, Jennifer.
Good. I'm just wondering, sorry, excuse, I've got a chest infection as well, so I sound a bit like a man today, but apologies about that. The gift card scheme, our council didn't decide to do that, and now they're interested in doing it, but of course with no money to do it. I'm just interested how you targeted it. How did you decide who was getting the gift cards with the money on it, to see if there is a, you know, if we can find any money, is there a way of targeting it?
Yeah, really there's all the specifics, but it's that socioeconomic groupings in the regen areas, those that were on income support, Jennifer. But you know, that might be too broad a definition. It's going into about 13,000 or so. So I would be able to give you that information, not obviously the innermost detail from a council, but we could certainly share that with you, what the criteria was. But it is the most disadvantaged within your area that will receive the card. And they had the lists. And, you know, we've been the honest broker in a sense. Now, Glasgow City Council did it direct with MyConnects, but we as a bid pushed for the funding to come in. That was our part. That was our part in it. We were that honest broker that wanted to see the money come into the city centre. So we engaged in that tripartite arrangement, as we often have with the City Council. They were receptive to that. It was the LASER funding that you'll know about. That ship has probably sailed, but there will be other opportunities. And as I say, the early soundings from Glasgow, who are 2 or 3 weeks ahead of us, are very positive, you know, so that will go back in through COSLA. I suspect that councils might be a bit more receptive across the board. Sorry for some of these acronyms, but it's 32 local authorities north of the border. A diverse and wonderful family, isn't it, Jennifer?
It is indeed. Just another quick question. Are you putting the same amount on your cards? Is it £100 that you're putting on?
We're really, you'll correct me, it's just above the 100. We're so generous up in Aberdeen.
It's £124, and it's families that receive a council tax reduction.
Brilliant, thank you.
It was more originally, Jennifer, and then unfortunately the number of recipients have increased for obvious reasons. So they reviewed that again, and because the number went up, the fund hasn't increased, but the amount per family or person has gone down slightly. But just to add on to that, what's been really useful and helpful through the City Council arrangement is that the desire from merchants to join the gift card scheme, because we have very gently and lightly been introducing this project into our bid network meetings to local businesses. Everyone that isn't on the scheme has started coming forward, if we haven't already approached them, to say, I want a piece of this cake, once the money goes out into the community. And because it's up to the recipient how they want to spend it, some may choose to use it to pay towards their, energy bills, etc. So we've signed up a lot of convenience stores and supermarkets as well to allow them to be able to go out and buy their groceries. So large supermarket brands that weren't interested previously, like Asda, Tesco, Sainsbury's, etc. If we're not speaking to them and discussing that at the moment, they've been signed up, which has been a great addition to the gift card offering.
Yeah. And My Connects have been actively going out to sign the big clause, Jennifer. And we've also, it has to be said, had support from ATCM through contacts there as well. For instance, Tesco is one that has proved a challenge in the past, but they are very receptive. And you can imagine that's a big player as well.
Yeah.
And top right on my screen is Gary Burnett, a modest soul, but he's been out dealing with some of that surge in interest, because it gets out that we've got just shy of 2 million coming into the scheme, and there's businesses out there that really want to engage. I'm conscious there's hands going up. Thanks, Jennifer, for that. Sunil?
Yeah, I can't imagine just how delightful it would be for a woman to sign off £2 million worth of spending just before Christmas, but that must be quite delightful, I would think, really. So yeah, well done. Going back to the presentation earlier on, I think just from my experience, we've tried to broaden the appeal of not just Christmas, but the what is now the city centre at Christmas time. One of the things I did last year was to change the Christmas light switch on day from a Saturday to a Sunday, which meant that it's already busy on a Saturday. Why would you impose a busy event on an already busy day? So it was a kind of double whammy for the businesses. So that's had a sort of very positive impact. We'll continue to do that. What we've managed to do is to work with a lot of stakeholders to say, look, it's not just the council's issue about promoting Christmas and providing events and activities. So we've got, for the switch on itself, for example, what we've tried to do is, now that we are a city, we're trying to bring the community together, have a greater deal of community participation from a number of organisations. So we've got dance groups, we've got high schools providing choirs, we've got obviously performances, Salvation Army, a couple of pipe bands. So just creating that noise, that very traditional Christmas feeling again, rather than the standard kind of thing. So it will be a very traditional sort of musical entertainment in the city. We've got a small business market that will come in, again, very local to Dunfermline. We've got the local Rotary Club doing their annual Santa Dash, so we'll try to promote that with them to bring as many people as we can. I think they had about 40 odd last year, and that was quite a big spectacle. So hopefully there'll be more than 100 this year. And if you've ever seen these things, it's just quite manic actually. But anyway, we've worked with the Carnegie Dunfermline Trust, and I think Daniel will probably know this. The Pit and Creek Park, which is locally known as the Glen, they're going to do a small version of an enchanted Glen. You've seen some of the sort of nighttime kind of thing, so that'll be something a little bit extra for the residents of Dunfermline. I've spoken to our anti-poverty people to try and introduce the Scotland Loves Local card. Obviously, the LISA funding issue is going to work well and truly gone, as you say, Adrian. So there'll be a small amount of funding that will go into that. So again, to try and get some of the most disadvantaged people into the city centre, be able to take part in the proceedings. Going back to what Chloe was saying, memorable experiences. So these will be memorable for a lot of people. because we are getting a lot of community involvement in this. We've got a guy called Paul Gudgeon who has organised lots of festivals around the world. So, thankfully he's a resident of Dunfermline. He's going to do a winter festival. So he's got quite an innovative event coming up at the Abbey, which this year is 950 years old. It's a carol marathon. So that's going to be quite an interesting one, throughout the day, just continually, people and choirs and whatever else. There's a Christmas cabaret, which is something a little bit different again, but of different type of entertainment, and a jazz evening. So we've got daytime, we've got nighttime. It's not necessarily about drinking. It's not just necessarily about eating. It's actually bringing people in for different reasons all the time. And just, again, working with our local press, the Courier, Kingdom FM, radio station. We've got a website, dunfermline.com. I'm in a slightly sort of different position, that having worked in a bid, you'd be doing these things a lot quicker, probably earlier, and with a bit more sort of zest, if you like. As a local authority employed person on this occasion, it's not quite the same, because it's not the local authority's responsibility to provide all these things. So my job has been to really try and corral people into pulling together something that, the sum of all parts is going to be much bigger all throughout, right until Christmas time. I like some of the ideas that Chloe has pulled together, and I think we'll certainly take them on board. OJ, I would suggest, rather than next September, maybe do a kind of a review of Christmas in February, so we capture all these things early enough, and then begin to plan, because planning does start straight after January, I guess. Other than that, the caring Christmas is part and parcel of what we're trying to do here. The green Christmas is not something we've taken on board, but definitely something for next year.
Thanks, Cyril. That's really, really helpful. And I agree with you. I love the way that Chloe split it up into these themes. For the caring Christmas, for our one, for instance, and we found we always get a dividend back. Whatever we do in the city now, we normally partner up with a charity. And Christmas, it's a local kids cancer charity. So you can imagine that brings, in the nicest possible way, a lot of warmth and support to the whole proceedings, and inclusivity, etc. The only thing I was going to say to you, Sunil, is just reassure the audience here and the good people of Dunfermline, you won't be singing an act carol marathon, no?
Oh, you spoiled my day.
Yeah, no.
Hang on, isn't that
I could read people's minds, and you're about outvoted 18-1. So
yeah, okay.
But keep trying. Audrey, your hand is up.
Thank you. I don't mind you singing, son. I'll just ignore them. So I've got two questions, because I'm local authority side, so sort of the upper tier of a two-tier authority. We're a little bit more removed from all the practicalities on that end. But I'm interested in the MyConnect card and the preloading of the money, and you've been able to get businesses on board, because we tried with Maybe. And we just couldn't get traction through any of the towns. We've got 17 towns across Warwickshire, and has it really helped having them preloaded to get those businesses on board? Has that really been a key factor? Anybody?
Can I just come on that? I mean, Adrian has mentioned the LACER funding, which is Local Authority COVID Recovery Fund, basically. Glasgow have spent their entire allocation on the Scotland Loves Local. And it was interesting that the minute they announced it, or it was leaked to the press, suddenly there was an interest from more than 500 businesses to sign up, because they saw something like £7 or £8 million coming. So you weren't going to get any of that if you weren't signed up. So that was a catalyst, and I'm sure Aberdeen will be exactly the same in terms of trying to get people on board. I've tried on a number of occasions with different partners to try and get businesses on board, but unless and until there's some sort of an injection of money, then it's just much more difficult to do so.
And do you think that traction is going to stay once it's in place in a year or so's time? Once those cards are empty and there's no more cash on them, is it seen more as a, is it the key to keep that loyalty moving into January and keep those events and keep that digital engagement? Or is it more around, you know, is it just going to fall off the cliff again and be forgotten? It's treated more like a voucher.
Adrian, could I come in here just for a second?
Adrian, you're muted.
Audrey, just to let you know, in Aberdeen here, Aberdeen Inspired, the gift card here, we've had it running since 2020. So the lesser funding is just a real good supportive addition to a card that was really, really successful. I think Adrian will agree, way back in 2020 when we first took it out. And the real pull point was the fact that the money was coming into the local environment. That was the big issue. And we've kept, we are up to nearly 300 businesses now. We've kept that businesses, with us. And I think the LASA funding is obviously a supportive element to that, but it's been a popular card. So I just thought I'd mention that, Adrian.
No, and if I could follow on, Audrey, respectfully from what Gary has said there, we had the Swipey card up here. It's another one of those gift cards. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I had just come in and we were just finishing up with it. It had got very modest sums onto the card. It didn't work. What you need to be is right behind it. And I think there's a question in timing as well, Audrey. The city is on its backside when we introduced the gift card. So we had a huge marketing campaign, a sustained campaign. We put a lot of effort into this and commitment. Not just having a gift card for the sake of it, launching it with a photograph of that oversized gift card, and then saying, well, there's something else for levy payers. Let's move on to the next initiative. It takes blood, sweat, and tears every day to push your gift card, that it does become part of that psychological contract, not only with the good people of the city within the city walls, but hopefully the shires as well. Now, I know you have a different situation in lovely Warwickshire, etc. And financially, there'll be some towns better off than others and all the rest of it. But it was timing that the city was feeling bruised, the bricks and mortar businesses, and we could have picked a better time to come in with our card. And as Gary rightly says, that first 2 years, we built up a reasonable head of steam. We got over 200 businesses. And if you look at the size of us, that's not too bad. And we got £500,000 worth of sales, which many people would be slapping themselves in the back saying, that's really quite good. But then that probably led, because we had a wee bit of credibility and we kept pushing it, to the council deciding to have the confidence to put in a greater sum. And that starts to gain the momentum. But believe you me, Audrey, you're absolutely right. You need to keep working at this for all seasons. We have Mother's Day, we have Father's Day, we have Let's Give the Teacher Something here. So it's a 365 campaign. And Chloe will be proud of our marketing campaign on this one. Every day there's something new. And some days you see some real good sales, and other days you think, well, that just didn't necessarily work. It's been quite modest, but we're making some traction, but it's a lot of work. And My Connect seems to be the scheme for us that's worked. Now, that might have just been timing, but they are very receptive. We've moved towards the digital as well, and they're coming with us as much as we're going with them, if that kind of makes sense. And we'd be delighted, Audrey, to speak with yourselves down in Warwick at any time and go through all the paperwork, etc.
That'd be great, Adrian, if we could pick up on that. I'm sure we'd like a conversation. That's okay. Thank you.
OJ, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, just to say, I've a couple of things to touch up on. Firstly, in terms of the gift card, I think it's important to note that I think, especially with the way Glasgow and Aberdeen are using the funding, is I would now probably wouldn't call it a gift card anymore. That was certainly the original concept. It was a gift card, something especially to be used around a period like Christmas. But I think the emphasis of the COVID recovery funding has been largely about making sure we can support low-income households to almost support their everyday shopping. So it's not so much about gifting, but it's almost just become a form of currency people can use in shops for the day-to-day, which is why we've seen this change in the types of businesses involved, with all of a sudden your normal everyday supermarkets and convenience stores starting to get involved, and this much broader range of businesses wanting to have that involvement now in what I think was once a gift card, but probably not anymore. So I think that's important to point out, is it's evolved and it's changing, probably in a way I don't think My Connects themselves ever really originally expected. But I think that's great. I think that's great. And ultimately, for a lot of our members as well, it brings them closer to some of those, the head office of a lot of those big supermarkets who are important to our high streets. Secondly, on the issue of Christmas, Sunil, you say about having Christmas meetings earlier in the year. Chloe sent me an email saying exactly the same thing. So I think what we'll do next year, I think you're right. We will, first couple of months of next year, we'll have Christmas meetings looking at the performance for this year, and then what people's plans are for the coming Christmas. And then I think later on in the year, probably around November time to time it with COP28, what we'll do is we'll have a special session looking at sustainable Christmases, looking at the green Christmas as a sort of separate session. But in terms of people's Christmas plans, maybe we do that in the first 2 months of next year.
You're muted, Adrian.
Sorry, Sunil, do you want to come back in? Apologies.
Yeah, great minds think alike, Chloe, so well done. Just a simple example of how one business has taken on the Scotland Loves Local gift card. So I live through in Glasgow. My local hairdresser, before anybody says about my haircut, let's put that to one side, but my local hairdresser is quite a forward-thinking businesswoman. So what she's done is to say, right, for the, I think it's £100, I think, was being given to every household that's disadvantaged. What she has said is that if the person that gets the gift card spends the entire £100 in her hairdressing salon, she'll add an extra £20 to it. So she's basically capturing all of that. It gives her the opportunity to engage with the new customers and build a database of new clients. Quite interesting, and it's working well. And I think at some point Glasgow will make that as an example of really good best practice. So you maybe speak to some of your businesses individually and say, look, this is what can be done, and actually sort of promote that all the way. Yeah, just an example. Sorry.
Absolutely, sir. Any other questions? Hopefully this has been of some use to you all. You know, and like everybody else, I'm quite sure we're happy to field any queries, calls, because nothing is textbook in this world of placemaking at the moment. There's challenges out there, but if we can help at all in our own way, we will. OJ, can I pass back to your good self?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot, Adrian. So just to let everybody know, you're all welcome to join us for future events. This is the last ATCM Scotland event for the calendar year, and we'll be back again in the new year. So I'll sort out the schedule of events for next year. We do have other meetings between now and the end of the year for other parts of our network. So on Thursday, we're talking about the green nighttime economy, which we've got lots of people signing up to join us for the meeting, and I still, as yet, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to talk about because it's such a new area. I Googled net zero and nighttime economy, and literally there is nothing. So it's an exploratory sort of stab in the dark for this issue, where we're going to try and find out what the issues are and how we can start to work towards net zero for the nighttime economy. We've got ATCM Northern Ireland next week. I think what I might do for that meeting is, like we've done for this meeting, if people outside of Northern Ireland want to join us for the meeting, then they will be welcome to. So we'll probably discuss how we approach the issue of January and boost footfall and sales during what is a typically quiet January period, especially when we got a cost of living crisis. So people are welcome to join us for that. On the 17th of November in the morning, we're going to have a preview to the budget for the UK economy, because I think that is the day we expect the autumn statement to take place. And we will then have a session exploring in detail what the budget means for town centres across the UK a little bit later in the year. So like I say, everybody's welcome to join us for anything that's on offer if it is useful. So it's really good to see you all. I've really enjoyed the conversation. Chloe, it's not Home Alone 2, not at all. I'm not accepting that. But apart from that, I think everything's been really useful. Really useful debate. So I've learned quite a bit actually, which I'll share with others. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having